crackdown on crime, the Pentagon is reportedly planning to deploy a few thousand National Guard members to Chicago after seeing such great results in our nation's capital.
Rebekah Castor joins us now from Washington with the latest. Good morning, Rebekah.
Good morning, Charlie. According to the Washington Post, troops could be on their way to Chicago as soon as September, even though lawmakers are already pushing back. The city's mayor says we have grave concerns about the impact of any unlawful deployment of National Guard troops to the city of Chicago. The problem with the president's approach is that it is uncoordinated, uncalled for, and unsound. The operation will likely look similar to what's playing out in D.C. right now. More than 2,000 soldiers are here patrolling the city's streets. They can't make arrests, but are serving as a visible presence to deter crime. In the Oval Office Friday, the president revealed Chicago is next.
We're going to make our country very safe. We're going to make our cities very, very safe. Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent. And we'll straighten that one out probably next. That'll be our next one after this. And it won't even be tough. And the people in Chicago, Mr. Vice President, are screaming for us to come.
In response, the governor of Illinois says Donald Trump is attempting to manufacture a crisis, politicize Americans who serve in uniform, and continue abusing his power to distract from the pain he's causing families will continue to follow the law. This will surely set up another legal battle on when the president can take over the National Guard. It's a question still playing out in California after Trump sent soldiers to L.A. earlier this summer. Charlie, Rachel, and Griff, back to you.
Thanks, Rebekah.
Right. Thank you so much, Rebekah.
You know, it really is a strange position that Democrats find themselves in, claiming that that this is a manufactured crisis in cities like Chicago. There were literally hundreds of murders in Chicago every single year. And they can say that, okay, they've dropped or they've gone up or whatever, and who knows the numbers. I never trust these numbers. They jimmy with the numbers all the time. Whatever. Everyone agrees hundreds of citizens were murdered every year in your city. And that's not a manufactured.
So yesterday you had a fascinating interview with Rod Blagojevich, the former governor of Chicago, and you asked him about this. Here's what he said.
Yeah. And most Chicagoans would welcome this. In fact, be excited, enthusiastic about it. The fact of the matter is Chicago is a very dangerous city. You can honestly say that when you get up every morning in Chicago, you can say to yourself, someone's going to be murdered today. Pritzker's playing politics with this. Here again, 8 out of 10 of the murder victims in Chicago are black. Carjackings are up in our city. Retail thefts are up, and brazen retail thieves are terrorizing store owners and destroying the economy. This is an epidemic of crime, and our governor has a moral obligation to cooperate with the President of the United States, put politics aside, and do what you're supposed to do.
He's right. He's right. And, you know, the White House just posted yesterday, they've had 9 straight days in D.C. now with 0 murders. Chicago cannot say that. And when, you know, you're hearing Governor Pritzker talk about, you know, this fight, here come Democrats, they're going to lean in on this 80-20 issue, just like the border. 80-20 right. Americans wanted, and I think the number's higher, wanted a secure border. People want safe cities. And, you know, the Pentagon, I mean, this Washington Post exclusive story really isn't a surprise because we knew it was coming. And they've got their ducks in line from what my sources are telling me because, look, posse comitatus prohibits the National Guard from just coming in and engaging in law enforcement activities. That's not what they're doing. They're not invading Chicago. They're going to assist and supplement ICE and federal law enforcement activities. And by doing so, they supplement those law enforcement officers so that they can focus entirely on dealing with the activity right. of bringing in the criminals.
You know, I think about why Donald Trump was elected, and I think a big part of why he was elected is because he's a businessman, and he understands what the customers want. I look at somebody like, totally. You know, the mayor of Chicago, but you can even expand this out. You know, yesterday we were talking about Cracker Barrel. If the CEO of Cracker Barrel actually interviewed customers, would they have wanted the old-timey, you know, feel of the restaurant gone? No, they wouldn't have said that. If you interviewed the CEO of Target if the CEO of Target interviewed the customers and said, do you want us to put trans bathing suits for kids in the front of the store for right when you walk in, and so that's your theme for the store, the customers would have said no. And if the mayor of Chicago or the governor of Chicago actually talked to the citizens and said, since we can't do it, would you like Donald Trump to come in here and clean up the crime and make sure there's no murders, just like they're doing in D.C.? I guarantee the people on the south side of Chicago who deal with the brunt of these stupid policies would say yes. It's customer service.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.